Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Legendary Difficulty first 20 turn guide so that you guys can, pick up Legendary Difficulty and at least get a good start on your campaign. It's most likely that people get essentially derailed within the first 20 turns, and if you use this guide, you should have a pretty good start to your campaign. Can't promise you'll have a good end to your campaign, but that's really up to you. Anyway, so we're going to be doing the Wood Elves today. I'll be focusing on Orion. Although, if you follow this guide pretty much to the letter, you can pretty much apply everything that I say in terms of Orion over to Durthu. They have pretty much the exact same playstyle. It's just the units that you recruit will be different because Arguelon focus more on beasts, Wood Elves focus more on infantry and not so much beasts. Anyway, let's jump in now to turn number 1. Okay, so here we are at turn 1. Now the first thing I reckon you should check is this agent here, the Waystalker, that you always start off with. Now the trait that he gets is really important. We've got Talon of Kurnos, and that's the trait that we want. Now if you don't get that, all you have to do is exit out of the main menu, start a new Wood Elf campaign, and it'll just re-roll the trait. You don't have to do that, but this is a really important trait for the Wood Elves. It can be a very difficult campaign, and so giving yourself every little bit of advantage can make a big difference. So again, entirely up to you if you want to do it, but luckily in this particular role, we got it. Alright, what we want to be doing is planning an attack for Orion. You need to be focusing less on expansion and more on leveling up. Now we start off at war with a few factions. These two Beastmen tribes, we have no idea where they are. They'll show up when they show up. Going out there to try and hunt them down is not really viable because they hide. As for Paravon, we could go over there and attack them, but they'll see us coming and they start off with enough troops to make it a difficult fight. It's not the easiest way to deal with it, so I don't recommend dealing with Paravon at the start. Generally speaking, even when Paravon builds up its army, it's not going to invade Althor Loren, so you don't have to worry about them right now. What we do want to be doing is coming down here and attacking the Broken Nose. This is a faction that is pretty easy for us to fight at the beginning. Their defenses here are weak, and they're not going to be around in the endgame. They'll either get confederated into the Greenskins, in which case any war that you start with them will be over, or the Dwarves will destroy them. Either way, you don't have to worry about them, and so any punishing that we do to them right now will not come back to haunt us later on. So what we'll do, stand over here so that we can use the world routes to get over here next turn, and then recruit a few extra Glade Guard. Now in terms of what units you should or should not recruit, I would recommend going for more archers first, then going for defensive front lines. You don't need that many troops in order to, frontline troops in order to keep the enemy at bay, but you need damage dealers, and that's where these guys come into play. These guys here will do more damage than them, and so that makes them more valuable. Now, as for construction, we go for growth and for money. I'm going to keep this taxed because if I untax it, it'll actually lose us a recruit slot, which it doesn't actually make that particularly clear. But yeah, we tax it. It's only 40 gold. There's definitely going to be a revolt here because it's Legendary Difficulty -8 public order penalty with no real way to negate it. Public order is actually a really big problem for the Wood Elves. But it's okay. Let the revolt occur and then we just come back here and deal with it. The revolt will likely take around 8 to 10 turns before it shows up. Just don't worry about it. And then, let's move on. Okay, so turn 2. Real simple. Go into the world routes. Jump over there. And we're done. The way to deal with that, I think, is to negotiate joining a war using Clan Angrand. So, Broken Nose. Then you get a green non-aggression pact there, where you can get a small payment out of them. You just want to start establishing good relations because eventually you want to get a confederation. Generally speaking, you don't want to go to war with the other Wood Elves. Confederate with them when the time comes. Okay, now we want to fight this battle. Has to be done manually. Auto-resolve will see certain units get nuked. Don't want that to happen. So these guys here they're crappy skirmishers. Like I said, these are not good units, but we'll do what we can with them. It's too early in the game right now to replace them, and the financial issues just haven't really come into play yet. Okay, actually, the position I've chosen here is not really the best. Because of this hill on the ground here. It's blocking a lot of our shots, so we need to fall back a little bit. What we can do here, since they've left the Goblin Archer at the rear, we'll actually send them into melee. They're actually better melee fighters than they are archers. They're awful archers. When it comes to archery, the ground that you choose is really important. They don't really take obstructions that much into consideration. They do try to shoot over it, but they don't do a very good job of it most of the time. And our units are faster than them, so have a sort of retreating line is acceptable. And as per the usual, having our legendary lord act as a tank, that works reasonably well. Right, the army loss penalty should be inflicted any moment now. We've just about run out of ammunition, which is a little bit of a problem. Once we're out of ammo, that's most of our damage dealing gone. But they don't have much left either. There we go. No need to pursue them because they're all dead. Good. Decisive victory means more experience for us, as opposed to if we got a close or Pyrrhic victory. Straight up to level 2. Good. And we could raise it for more money, but it's not about the money. It's about the experience. So we need to be able to come back here next turn. So just sack it.
I live to serve
then we go into encamp stance. And we repeat the process again next turn. We could recruit another general over there to start recruiting, but everything seems fine over there, and that would just cost us more money.
Lord of the Forest.
Now, we could auto-resolve this, but the more damage we take, it'll start to grind us down over time, so we really should fight this battle manually. Okay, by fighting the battle manually, I was able to take 0 casualties, which just means that we will recover faster from the initial fight, which there was no, essentially taking no casualties on that. It's not about money, it's all about the experience, so I'll just get closer, just to encamp, just so it uses up less movement next time. Now, when they do send an army up over here, we should have plenty of warning, and then we just teleport straight back over there, especially if it's a full stack, but it'll take them a few turns to do that. 5 turns into it, and Athelloren's not under any real threat. We can see that Paravon has a little bit of force over here. Again, just don't worry about them. And we continue to just keep sacking Karak Bufdar, which has a bit of a weird name. Now, by turn 5, we should be able to upgrade this to tier 2. But that's starting to consume amber. That's where having this unit here, so this one here, starts to be a little bit iffy as to whether or not we should keep it. As long as we don't go below 0, so go to like -1, we're okay, so we can still spend 1 more if we absolutely have to. Thing is, we're going to want Isha, the mother, in terms of technologies because of that extra growth. We have got to rapidly get our trees grown up quickly. So that's going to need that other amber. Disbanding this one. Yeah, I think we can justify doing that now. We'll save 226 gold, and we just don't need it. So now's the time to get rid of it.
Lord of the Forest.
And once again, have to fight this battle manually, just to minimize casualties, and we just continue to gain experience. On turn 6, Clan Angrind has come down here, and they're clearly wanting to take Karak Bufdar. And you need to make a decision on whether or not you want to let them take it, or take it for yourself. You can still sack it again, but if we take it for ourselves, it'll give us a little bit of amber. Won't give us much money, there's barely any resources here. And it's most likely that the greenskins will come over here and retake it. So, since it doesn't have any real value to us, it might be better if we just let Clan Angrind take it. If we have a look here,
True friend of the Angrund clan.
They don't want any sort of alliance with us at this stage, and they're starting to get considerably stronger than us. That might be why they don't want an alliance.
Orion.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take it
Eleanor, destroy.
for myself. Because this is the last turn that we'll be able to sack it. Just auto-resolve it, because I know that we'll get plenty of recovery over the end turn. And then we can make it all the way back to King's Glade, but we don't actually want to go to, like, right in there, because that'll just increase public order. We want the revolt to occur, because we need him to gain experience. So just right over here will do. So we've been away for a while, and now we're finally able to recruit again. We have got 2 turns until a revolt. There's no point going anywhere else in the meantime. Now you might think, why not just let the garrison handle the revolt? Generally speaking, the larger your garrison, the bigger the revolt's going to get. Highly recommended, since it's your only most important settlement, not to risk it all to fate of being able to beat a revolt. Unless you've got like a full stack in there, generally speaking, have an army ready to deal with the revolt when it comes. It's also going to be able to give him more experience. Alright, so here we are at turn 10, halfway through the guide already. Not much happens in a Wood Elf campaign compared to, say, Bretonnia. But you just gotta try to make the most of what we can do. So what we want to do is fight this battle manually. We want to fight them twice, because beat them, then retreat, then beat them again. It's all about gaining Orion as much experience as possible. Probably won't need the replenishment, I'll take the money. And then since there's so few of them remaining, we can easily auto-resolve the second fight. This Vold's Anvil Smith, extra armor but reduced campaign movement range. Get that off. Yuck. Get that off. We need the campaign movement range. He does not need extra armor.
Master of the Wild Hunt.
Now, public order will be improved for a short amount of time, but still not enough to actually maintain public order. So there will eventually be another revolt. So we have a choice now. We can either recruit, but stand over here and recruit, or we could force march over here, get ready to jump over to Quenelles so that we could attack it. But they've now built walls. That means that the Wood Elves, they're probably one of the worst factions at dealing with siege. And the Bretonians do get a large garrison with that kind of stuff. So, not ideal to go after that now. I think what we'll do is try not to let another revolt occur. Actually, come over here, sit there, create a bit of a buffer for the public order. And also, now that we've built the routes here, let's look for an appropriate wizard. Now, currently we don't have one here. Now, which one should you go after? For the... It depends on what your endgame army is going to be like. For me, personally, I end up with just spamming Way Watchers. Now, what's going to boost them the most? Probably Shadow Magic would be the best. But currently we don't have what we need here. What we want is, of course, Talons of Kurnos. Okay, so now that that technology is done, and since we've got that extra bit of amber, definitely want to go with that extra growth, and also will improve diplomatic relations with Empire provinces so that we can get an alliance with them. And if that's going to be the case, let's see. So we can get a Talon of Kurnos Beast Wizard. And in all honesty, like, Beast Magic and Shadow Magic are about the same tier. I probably would have preferred Shadow Magic, but there's nothing wrong with Beasts, so I'm going to grab that.
My powers are yours.
And that'll be attached to the army. Alright, so the plan of attack now is to move down here and basically finish off the Broken Nose, and then quickly get back here before the Beastmen show up.
Make way.
So we've got a -6 public order penalty here. We can't justify not taxing it. We will go broke very quickly. We've got 8 turns to get the job done. Now, it's actually going to be less than that because the military crackdown is still going down. But if we build this here, that'll provide us with a tiny bit of a buffer. Okay, what we'll probably want to do actually is recruit this dude.
Can I offer assistance?
And, oh, actually it's a girl, whatever, doesn't matter.
They're called boobs, Ed.
And then disband it straight away, because that one had Talons of Kurnos. Those are the traits that you want. So I didn't want to keep it, just get that going. Probably want to avoid defensive alliances for the time being. But what we could... Oh, hang on. This will give us some amber.
Alright.
Okay, cool. We got our first military alliance. Alright, so looking at this, we've got 8 turns until it revolts. So we bought ourselves a tiny bit of time by building that. It will make a bit of difference. Now, we got to take these guys out. Now, if I just come rushing down here, what they'll end up doing is force marching this army over here and moving him into attack, and we'll be a little bit overwhelmed. So instead, we'll just move down a little bit, go into ambush stance. We'll probably get detected, but they're unlikely to be able to push an attack at us. We are outnumbered here, so we do need to try to be careful. Like I said, that's probably not going to work, but you never know, it might. Non-aggression pact is the beginnings of getting a military alliance. Now, under normal circumstances, I say don't get allies, but as the Wood Elves, you really do need it for the amber. Got to be careful, though, not to get too many allies, because if they ever start declaring war on each other, you've got to pick sides, and that's never good for you. Alright, so luckily for us, the ambush actually was managed to hold, so they don't know what's coming here, allowing us to come in here and get some more experience. Now, got to keep a constant eye on this. We've only got 6 turns now, because the public order keeps going down because of the military crackdown. It's only been 4 turns since we sorted that out. So it's probably going to be more like 4 or 5 turns until it revolts, so we might not actually be able to push all the way down here. If we do, we have to rush back here as quickly as possible. Anyway, at least for the time being, we've got an easy battle here, which means extra experience for us.
Onward!
But yeah, we can't be away from home for too much longer.
Asray, to battle!
Absolutely easy fight, but it has to be fought manually to minimize costs, casualties. There we go. After essentially 2 victories, they're gone. Alright, so here we go with this. Now, they've made a bit of a mistake. By putting a general out here like this, if we attack him, what we could do is rush at them before the reinforcements show up and kill their general at the beginning of the battle before their reinforcements have shown up, and that'll reduce their morale. In addition to that, because we've got not many of them, but we've got some Way Watchers and Way Stalkers, they can fire while moving backwards, and all they've got here are basic infantry here. We just need to watch out for the nasty Skulkers, because of their speed's 37. What's our speed? Yeah, we should still be able to outrun them, because if they catch us, then they can slow us down considerably. So it says the odds are against us here, so this is actually the most important battle of this guide here, winning this kind of fight. This one is going to be quite difficult, but we've got a lot of damage dealers, but we have to make sure that their front line does not reach our archers at all cost. If we have to sacrifice our front line to do this, so be it. Reinforcements aren't coming exactly where I wanted them to, but that's okay. We want to stand these guys back as far as possible, because we want to delay that as much as we can. This guy here needs to get sniped. That's his job. They don't have anyone too quick. They won't be able to get to us too quickly. If we can push them, like constantly cycle charge them in that direction, that can really help. Having Orion go over there, probably doesn't have Vanguard deployment. On also these guys here, if they could slow down these troops, that's really going to help us out a great deal. And these ones here, they'll just wait in reserve for the time being. This is where the talent of Kurnos really comes in handy. We can outrange them from a bloody mile. Okay, we don't need him doing that. Come back over here. Actually, he's so fast he can outrun them as well. He can come up over here. But these ones here, they're fast, but they're about the same speed. Just keep them where they are at the moment. So I'm gonna have Orion stand here. This is where he's gonna stand and fight. Hopefully we can get them to funnel in here. It'd just be great for our archers. We really don't want to get caught in melee. Make sure we spread out where they can't get us. Orion's not faring too well. He needs to pull out now. It's okay to put her in melee, just for a little bit. Okay, we got a really good situation here where, like, 3 units are holding back a tide of, like, 7 of them. Now, the great thing about these archers is they can fire whilst moving, but only while moving forward. So let's just try to run them down as much as possible. Because this doesn't just give us a city, we're attacking the army outside the city, so this will make the next battle a lot easier. But we've ensured that we've won against a broken nose. Good. Most of the enemy army has been obliterated, but the problem here is that if we don't take them out this turn, they're going to get a lot of replenishment. So fingers crossed we'll still have just a tiny bit of movement.
I live to serve.
Good. I would have been annoyed if we didn't reach it. Now, because we've taken a lot of damage, we do have to fight this battle manually, but there's no real risk here. Alright, easy fight, minimal casualties, and that is the end of the broken nose. We've utterly destroyed them here. Whew. That's a lot of money. Yeah, I'm gonna raise it.
Attack!
Yeah, we still got enough movement, and we don't have any other fights for a while, so we still make like a 14,000 profit from this. Now, our army is going to be pretty badly damaged, but like I said, we don't have any other fights to do, so this is perfectly fine. But in terms of the value of this settlement itself, it's not valuable. So, how much time do we have left here? So it's actually 4 more turns, well, because we got this coming in. Wait, don't we still have military crackdown bonus? 2, yeah, so it's probably going to be more like 3 turns. Now, we could exempt it from taxation, because we've got more money come through. It's just that we should be able to make it back in time. We want to be able to time it so we get back just in time for that to occur. But we need to hurry back. Whatever is going to give us the most amount of movement, That's what we gotta do. Alright, that technology's done. That's great. So the revolt's gonna happen next turn, but that's actually good. Actually, no it won't, because what's gonna happen is this guy here will actually reduce public order. Sorry, increase public order. So what I want him to do, since he's at full strength, I want him to come and stand over here. Right? That way he can show up next turn.
Yes,
And these guys...
I will grant your request.
Hang on. I think you've got something that increases public order. That needs to go. Just temporarily.
Lord of the Asray,
Show up. There.
shield of
Something's
Athelloran.
still causing public order. Is he authoritarian? Ah, he is. Okay. So, yeah, we've just bought ourselves an extra turn there. Oh well, they're bound to get that eventually. Not a big deal.
The hunter.
But that just gives us more time to recover. Not that we really need it. And we're now at tier 3 here. So, we can build that up. Provides a bit of extra public order. On Legendary Difficulty, you kinda have to. There's just not enough you can do to maintain public order. Short of like leaving a lot of agents around. We got a lot of money thanks to raising that settlement. So getting other agents are really helpful. Branch wraiths are really helpful as well, so grab them. I hate dryads. Don't get dryads. Don't get fucking treekin. Don't get treemen. They consume too much amber. It's not worth it. Getting them as Arguelon, absolutely fine. But as the Wood Elves, nuh-uh. Now, we do have a little bit of an issue. We're at a deficit of amber. What that's going to do is just lose us casualty replenishment range -5. It'll get worse if we keep losing more amber. But, see what happened is that the Pirates of Sartosa took the genie away from Tilia. Tilia might take it back. They might not. It doesn't matter. Like I said, because we've built this, that'll more than negate it. So it's fine.
Ever watchful.
Lord of the forest.
It's not, like I said, it's not great because we can't do the other things that we wanted to do. But, you know, these things happen with our allies. Sometimes they lose territory. Sometimes they gain territory.
They will not succeed.
And then we wait until the revolt. Gotta get branch wraiths soon. Can still get more spell singers. Alright, so there's another one. Yeah, grab that. We can attach it to the army to begin with, because we're at 19. And that'll just be a way for us for this one to get experience. And it wouldn't hurt to get a little bit of extra range as well. But generally speaking, 2 mages in 1 army, not really a great idea. So basically, deal with the revolt, and we've made a pretty strong start here. Decent amount of amber. In order to get the Oak of Ages up to tier 2, and also Kingsglade up to tier 3, and a little bit of technology. And more importantly, we've got a decent army with a pretty well leveled up Orion. Not as much so as what Luan Leonco was, but that's a much more aggressive campaign, whereas this one, not as much really happens with it. Alright, so here we are at turn 20. And everything's looking pretty good. The only downside here is the lack of amber, but generally speaking, it'd be very difficult to get a good surplus of amber by turn 20. It's a very slow moving machine, and we have to wait quite a while for diplomacy to ramp up so that we can start getting alliances. Generally speaking, what's going to happen eventually is you get an alliance with the Empire, and then that'll feed you all the amber that you need to get this up to tier 3. Once you've got that to tier 3, you can then get the Confederations here. With them and the Confederation, you can start getting better units and push out against Bretonnians, whether or not you want to fight them or ally with them. Personally, I'd probably want to fight them. Conquer that territory, that's entirely up to you. But the Wood Elf campaign is quite difficult in general. They are particularly a weak faction, especially in terms of their economy, but they've got some of the strongest armies in the game. Anyway, that's the 20-turn guide. Let me know in the comments below what faction you'd like me to cover next, and we'll see you next time, fuckers.